Hello YouTube, my name is Isabella and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a rather standard book haul. These are the books I've purchased in the past 2-3 months. They've been slowly racking up. It's not a terribly large sized haul, which I'm relieved by because if you don't know, I've been trying to stop/restrict my book buying and focus on reading my TBR. With mixed results, obviously. Ironically, I've been doing pretty well in November. It's mid-November. I haven't bought a book in about a month-ish. But I kind of failed earlier. So let's just get into it. So the first set of books I have to show you are from Book Outlet. I was feeling really impulsive one day and a book that I really wanted to read popped up there. So I decided to make a whole purchase, as one does, and purchased 6 books, which was pretty restricted for me, but I purchased In an Absent Dream by Seanan McGuire. This was the book that I really wanted to get my hands on, and I have since already read it. This is the 4th book in the Wayward Children series. Our main character in this one is a character we actually met from Every Hearted Doorway, and it just is essentially her backstory and why she is currently residing at Eleanor's School for Wayward Children. I really like this one. I love Seanan McGuire's writing. This is really good. I also decided to pick up An Unkindness of Magicians by Kat Howard. This is an adult standalone fantasy, I believe, and it centers around this like sort of magical tournament. I've been seeing a lot of good reviews for it recently, and I think this cover is stunning, so I really wanted to give it a shot. I also decided to purchase Undead Girl Gang by Lily Anderson. This is a book I've had my eye on for quite some time, and I had an absurd pipe dream now, I realize, but I really wanted to read this in October for Halloween because this actually kind of follows zombies. Our main character is a Wiccan, and I think at the beginning of our story her best friend is killed, or someone is killed, and she decides actually to resurrect them to get revenge on their murderer. I have a feeling I'm really gonna love this, and I love this cover. I think it's gorgeous. This is the weirdest book, I think, from my Book Outlet purchases. I picked up The Mermaid and Mrs. Hancock by Imogen Herman. No, Imogen Hermes Goar. Wow, that was really wrong. I don't actually know too much about it. I know that this actually does follow or have something to do with a mermaid. The thing that caught me in the synopsis was that there is a little bit of magic in here, so I figured I'd give it a shot. A lot chunkier than I expected, and I know this had a lot of award buzz, so. The next book I grabbed, I've really been wanting to read, and it's A Curse of Dark and Lonely by Brigid Kemmerer. That's the most difficult last name. Brigid Kemmerer. This is a modern day-ish retelling of Beauty and the Beast. It follows a main character who actually has cerebral palsy, and then she gets swept up into this different world and meets the Beast, and things happen. I just think that this sounds like a really fun spin on a typical Beauty and the Beast retelling, and this has gotten great reviews across the board. Not only from like typical fantasy readers, but from contemporary readers too, so I figured I can't really go wrong. The last Book Outlet purchase I grabbed was An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. It has to deal with humans and the Fae, and our human is a talented painter, and she actually accidentally paints the Fae Prince with human emotions, so she gets in deep shit and then gets taken into the world of the Fae. When this first was published, I didn't have much interest in it. A lot of people gave this pretty negative reviews. I have been really interested in Margaret Rogerson's most recent publication, A Sorcery of Thorns, and now I've been hearing great reviews from An Enchantment of Ravens. This book is actually really small for a fantasy, so I figured this would be refreshing. The book I received in my August Owl Crate was House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin A. Craig. This is a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling, and to be honest, I don't know too much about the 12 Dancing Princesses as a myth. I just know that it's supposed to be kind of a horror-ish take on the tale, and I love this cover. Seeing it in person, it's beautiful. This cover is gorgeous. I think this is a standalone. I hope it's a standalone. Please be a standalone. I'm in the middle of way too many series right now. So I lied. This is my last book outlet purchase. Every once in a while, I'm down in the area where the physical book outlet store is for me, and I always kind of dash in there and see if there's anything I'd like. And I picked up E.B. Savoy's American Street. This also is a book that didn't get the greatest reviews when it was first published, but I read Pride by E.B. Savoy. Yep, this year. I read it this year and actually really loved it. So this follows a main character, Fabiola, who is immigrating to the United States. However, when she arrives, her mother is actually detained by U.S. immigration, I believe sent back to Haiti. So our main character has to live with her cousins and has to be integrated into a society without her mom. I've heard that a lot of people didn't like this because the main character is kind of messy and that she makes not the greatest decisions all the time, and honestly that makes me want to read this book more. I love a messy main character. I love a realistic character who makes mistakes and grows from them, so hopefully I really enjoy this book as well. On a whim, I also picked up Record of a Spaceborne Feud by Becky Chambers. This is the third and final book in the Wayfarers companion trilogy. I have not actually continued on with the series. I've only read the first book. I don't actually know what motivated me to pick this book up at all, other than the fact that it was bugging me that I didn't own the final book in the series. Don't ask me why. These covers are significantly nicer than the US Canadian covers. They're so ugly, so I just decided to grab them before they go out of print or something insane, because that's happened to me before. So I also managed to find Darius the Great Is Not Okay by Adib Khorram used. I found this at a used bookstore and I was actually really thrilled to get my hands on this. This follows a biracial Persian boy who is not connected with his culture really at all, and he also happens to be gay. He ends up getting the opportunity to go to Iran to visit, and he really seems to find a disconnect there. However, he meets another boy and he starts to, I think, develop a better relationship with his culture and then also with this boy. Our main character also has clinical depression, something that I always like to see explored in fiction. So I'm really excited to get my hands on this contemporary. I think it's gorgeous. Underneath, it's a really pretty blue, and I think the combination of colors is just really nice. Also, a sequel has been announced somewhat recently, and the movie rights for this, I think, has been picked up. So, perfect timing in my mind. The next book on this list I don't want to haul because I've read it and I hated it. It's Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. I've been putting off my October wrap-up specifically because I read this book. This has been having the hype of all hype on BookTube, Book Twitter. Everyone uses the tagline, lesbian necromancers in space, what could go wrong? Apparently a lot of things could go wrong. This isn't my wrap-up, so I'm not going to get into it, but this actually follows a main character who gets roped in to essentially be a really special bodyguard for the leader of her planet, and all the leaders of this one system, whatever, travel to an abandoned planet to try and become these like really super powerful magicians. This isn't like the most technical of synopses, but that's essentially what happens. And then it kind of turns into a murder mystery. And the reason why I think I hated this book so much is it had the potential to be good. It had a lot of potential. It just was so confusing, poorly written. This isn't my wrap up. I'm so mad I purchased this book full price. The next book I picked up I grabbed impulsively, as are most of my decisions, but it's The Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Chakraborty. I was supposed to purchase this in like celebration of me finally filming my City of Brass review. That did not happen. The review is still coming. I filmed it, just haven't managed to post it yet, but I purchased this. I'm currently reading it now and loving it. Anyway, this is the sequel to The City of Brass, a book I loved. I actually read it twice this year. The City of Brass starts off in 1700s Cairo with our main character Nahri, who accidentally wakes up this like super pissed magical being, a djinn, and they actually have to run for their lives to a magical city to protect themselves from these other magical beings called the Ifrit who are trying to kill them. Once they get to the City of Brass, a lot of political machinations ensue, and I loved it. This is the sequel. I'm reading it now, also loving it. Not much to say. I'm so excited to be reading list. In September, I got the Bone Houses from Owl Crate. This is by Emily Lloyd-Jones. This follows like a magical family of grave diggers. Their job is to make sure that magical beings stay dead. They work at a graveyard. Sounds pretty cool. I think this is a standalone. This also, I really wanted to get to in October. I just couldn't squeeze it in. But I love this cover. I love the flop of the covers. If you've seen the original, I love this one so much more. Okay, so this next purchase is going to make me look insane. And I don't know if I should bother explaining it or just moving along with it. A few books ago, I purchased The Kingdom of Copper in paperback. But I own The City of Brass in hardcover because I originally bought it from Book Outlet, and it was really bugging me that the editions weren't matching. So I did the thing and purchased The City of Brass in paperback. It's been driving me nuts recently that basically all the adult fantasy books are in hardcover because I fucking hate hardcovers. They're just so difficult to read. I made sure before that the final book would be available for purchase in paperback immediately when it releases, which it is in Canada. We get both the options of the paperback and the hardcover, so I jumped to it. I also grabbed Saga Volume 6 by Brian K. Vaughan, Fiona Staples. This is a series that I've been working my way through. There was a really good special on purchasing graphic novels by Image, so I jumped at the chance and picked up the 6th volume. I think I still have to read the 5th one. I'm definitely on the 5th one, but I'm always glad to have the next one in the series because sometimes these leave off on crazy cliffhangers. Should I mention adult sci-fi graphic novel series? Everyone has read them. The next book I purchased, I technically pre-ordered a long time ago and got it in the month of October. That's Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I actually splurged and decided to pick the Waterstones edition because apparently I'm very reckless. This book haul isn't very huge of mine, but boy did I spend a lot of money on it. Ninth House is a very anticipated release of this year. It is Leigh Bardugo's first foray into adult. It takes place in the contemporary world at Yale University. It follows our main character kind of either going undercover or tracking down these secret occult societies with like paranormal things happening. And apparently this is really dark and adult. I'm very excited to read this. I'm going to do my damnedest to finish this by the end of this year. I also purchased the collector's edition of Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. This is self-explanatory. I own the first collector's edition. These books are so beautiful. Oh my god. And I was actually panicked that these might go out of print again because that actually happened to me with the Six of Crows collector's edition. Luckily they came back in print, but I was nervous there for a second, so I just hopped on the chance. These are stunning. Stunning. And I can justify owning the collector's edition in my head because I've read these books both twice now, so that's just where we are at in my book purchasing. God, I'm never going to be good at purchasing books now, am I? The spiel at the beginning is just bullshit because I'm never not going to be able to purchase books. I'm a mess. I also managed to find a copy of The Blind Assassin by Margaret Atwood. I don't know what this is about. I did at one point in time, but I just got excited because this is a kind of newish edition of this book. I actually recently unhauled a bunch of Margaret Atwood books that I was no longer interested in, but this one still really appealed to me. It's a chunky one, really thick. I'm holding out hopes that I will enjoy another Margaret Atwood. I most recently read The Testaments, and that was a travesty. Also talked about in my October wrap-up. Yeah, hopefully I like this one. The hook actually sounds pretty interesting. Apparently it's a very ambitious novel. Hopefully it works for me. And in my October Owl Crates, there were 2 books, and both books I'm so excited to have my hands on. So I'm thrilled about them because honestly I've been toying with canceling my subscription for a while for Owl Crate, but these ones, they had me for. Anyway, I hope you get this message by Farinaz Rishi. This is a book I think I featured in my most anticipated releases of the second half of the year. A contemporary story with a sort of speculative twist. I believe this follows a group of people dealing with the fact that an alien race has given the Earth a message that we might be ending your world in a week, so get your affairs in order. This just seemed super interesting to me. I think this could have a lot of really great commentary, follows a very diverse cast of characters, so I'm thrilled to have this one. The final book that came with the Owl Crate is Cryos War by Nina Varela. This book I also featured in my most anticipated releases of the year. Holy shit, that's a long sentence, but I'm so excited for this. This is a sort of sci-fi fantasy story that follows two girls on the opposite side of a war. One is a human, one is like a maid kind of cyborg, I think, type person. So the Automay is what the other race of people are called. They actually rose up and kind of destroyed their human creators and their monarchy and like took over. So now humans are like the lesser race, and our main character actually is plotting to kill our other main character. But things go awry. There's an FF romance in here. It's supposed to be hate to love, enemies to lovers. This ticks all my boxes. I cannot wait to read this book. I'm also praying I can read this book by the end of the year, but who knows. So these are all the books that I purchased in the past few months. I don't plan to purchase many books in the last month and a bit of the year. I actually, at the beginning of this haul, thought I did a good job, but I didn't, because I bought a shitload of new books, which is really odd for me. If there are any books in this haul that you have any thoughts on, please let me know down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!